Today we're going to continue our Learn Web Development series with another project. We did so far a crash course on HTML, CSS, and now we're creating, as I said, a couple of simple projects using only HTML and CSS. And last time we created a hamburger menu. You remember that one? The entire code is down in the video description, so just check it out. But today we're going to create an automated carousel using 3 images. If you want to create a more complex one, please feel free, or just leave a comment section. Leave a comment in the comment section below. What is wrong with me today? I can't even talk. Nevertheless, we are going to create this little carousel. The images, by the way, are AI generated, so you can download them. You can use them wherever you want. There's no copyright on those images. As I said, we're only going to use HTML and CSS. This is a completely beginner-friendly project. So let's just get started. I'm talking here a lot. In our projects folder, we're going to create a new project. If you didn't watch the series, it's down in the video description. But if you don't want to watch the entire series, just create a folder on your desktop, drag and drop it in Visual Studio Code. If it's not using Visual Studio Code, using another code editor, please feel free to do so. We're going to create here a carousel. Let's just call it image and slide. Okay, so within here, we're going to create a new file. Call it index.html, and then we're going to create a style.css. So please get used to creating two files. We're not going to write CSS in HTML files. Click in the index.html file, hold down shift, exclamation mark, and there we go. We have our starter code here, our boilerplate for HTML. Now, the HTML part is extremely simple. We're just going to create here. Wait, first of all, I'm going to open this using live server. Open up in a new document, blank because we don't have anything. So let's just create a div with the class of, you know what, I'm going to create a main dot class of container, now carousel. And within here, we're going to create a div with the class of carousel and dash and slide. Okay, within a carousel slide, we're going to create free image text, so image with the source of, and create here also a image folder. Don't just have your images blank and thrown in there. Please keep your folder structure always clean. So within a slide folder, we're going to create an image. In a slide folder, we're going to create the image folder. Within here, you need to download the image file. So they're on the blog post. Just click, do a right click, save them within here. But if not, you know what? I think I need to create a GitHub repository. Yep. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a GitHub repository for the entire thing, so you can download everything from that repository. It's going to be much easier, but the explanation for the code, so each little thing that I'm saying in this video will be on my blog post. So definitely check that one out. Also, I'm now on Substack, and if you want to get your videos earlier, then subscribe to my Substack, because I'm posting there first. Okay, so within here, we're going to go to the source. So image with the property of source dot / that's basically in the same folder. Select the image folder and select the image img01.jpeg. Okay, don't forget you need to add the extension to the type of image that you're using. And also, we're going to type in here in the alternative of img and 01, so we know which kind of image. If I want something like this, then we know, okay, we're searching here for image 01. Okay, now duplicate this, so control and paste. Just replace this with image number 2, and this is going to be image number 3, and down here, image number 3. Okay, so we have 3 images displayed in a column because they're blocks, and this is how divs are displayed, and also images are displayed as blocks. Perfect. So guess what? We are done with our HTML. Wasn't that hard, was it now? Okay, now let's go to our style.css file. But before we do that, let's go into our head and link up the style.css file to our head. So create a link tag. In that link tag, we're going to use the href as a style.css. Don't forget .css, because we need to add the extension of the file. You know, our CSS file is linked up. So first things first, I'm going to do a general reset star and reset margins to 0. You're going to take up all of the margins, padding to 0. I want this to be nice and clean, and box sizing and border box. Now, border box just means that the specify width and height, and then respectively min width and min height property on this element determines the border box of the element. Okay, there we go. Now let's take care of our body. Now I want to, let's take a look here in our finished project, to display the content in the center of the page. Okay, it's perfectly centered because it's calculating the height of the container itself. But we're going to display it nevertheless center of the page. And for this, we're going to display everything that's in the body as flex, first of all. Also, I'm going to limit the body. Before I do this, this doesn't matter where you're going to type this in. We're going to limit the body to have a height of 100 viewport height. So what is a viewport height? This right here. So from down here to up here is the viewport. And this page will be not larger as 100 viewport height. So it's going to be, the entire thing will be on one viewport. The height of the entire body will be one viewport. Whatever the viewport is. Remember, if you're using different resolutions, you can have different viewports. It's going to constantly automatically adapt. Okay, now in order to center everything, we need to also justify the content as center and align the items now to the center. Okay, the reason why you're not seeing everything changing is still because the content is this container, this main container with the carousel class, which is basically the entire content. So it is in the center of the page, but the content itself still needs some styling. So what we're going to do now is going to target that carousel, that main carousel class that they created, and we're going to assign this the width of 100% of its parent, and also we're going to add a height of only 15 viewport heights. Okay, now we can see that this is higher than one viewport. The reason for this is because the images are trying to go outside of the viewport. So we're going to limit them. Let's select the carousel and we're going to select the slide. Oh, I'm going to show you something else. So we know that the carousel, let me close this up. We know that the carousel slide is within the carousel. The carousel slide class is within the carousel class. So what we can do here is go within the carousel class, use the parent selector. Remember, I talked about this in my previous video, and just add to this the carousel slide. So within here, we can select the carousel and slide class. Now, you can do it this way with the parent selector. You can also do it without it. This is just, what we're doing here is called nesting. We're nesting inside of, or we're catching the element that is inside of this element, because it is so. The carousel slide is within the carousel class. So we can style it within here, and we can add to this a width. So don't create another line of code here. Now within here, we can change now the width of the elements to be 300%. The reason that I'm doing this is going to be obvious just in a couple of seconds. Now you can see that it's going now outside of the image of our viewport. We are also going to display them as flex. And each time you display something as flex, it's going to flex in a row direction. Now the object fit of each element within this, I'm going to select now as cover. You know what, I'm actually going to add this property to the images themselves. Now within our carousel slide class, I can now target this class and say, use the parent selector, and say within here, each and every image that is in this parent is going to have now the following properties. First things first, I'm going to take each image, and because we have 3 images, I'm going to take that 100% of that image, and well, I need to divide 100% into 3 images. I would need 33.33.33.43, so on and so on. So what I'm going to do is use here width and use the calculate property, which you can now tell that this width should be the 100% width divided by 3, because we have 3 images. Now each and every image is going to take up exactly the width of 100% divided by 3. So 33.33 is going to leave that at 0.01 somewhere else. Now the height of each and every image will be 100%, not $sign. And you might play around here with the height. It's actually, let me think, about 45% or something like that. Oh, viewport height. 45, 55, even higher, 35. Ah, there we go. Something like that, because this has its own width. So you need to divide it into almost 3 exact. So I believe only 33.3 would be then roughly the right height. I'm going to go with 35. Looks much better. So we divided our images to to fit, so 3 images fitting into 3 segments of 100%. The height of each and every image is 100% of its height. And now we can use here the object fit as cover also to pick up as a cover. We could also do center, you could do start, end, and so far and so on. We already, did I talk about? No, I didn't talk about this in the crash course. So hey, something new. Also didn't talk about the calculate property in CSS. So this is also something new. As I said in the crash course, I didn't want to do a full course on CSS. I already have one. So within these projects, I'm going to explain more and more properties of CSS. Okay, now let's go back to start animating these images. And we're going to use the animate property on the carousel itself. So we're going to go up here where we have our carousel slider. We're going to use the animate property. So the animate property has a name. You need to give the animation a name first on. Then it has a duration, a time function. So everything that stays here. So animation, name, duration, time function, delay, interaction count, direction, and fill mode. So what I'm going to do here is use animation. Now the name, you can name it whatever you want. You can name it Norbert. Name it Norbert. Please do that. And subscribe to the channel. Also hit the notification button in order to get notified when I post new videos. But we are going to name it Carousel and Animation. Okay, so this is the name of the animation. In order to activate this, you need to use an at keyframe. So let me first of all finish with this, and then I'm going to explain to you how that at keyframe works. So carousel animation, this is the name of the animation. Now the duration is going to take as following. Think about it. Think about this specific problem as following. We have 3 images. Each image should take, as you can see here in our finished project, a specific time to animate. So in this specific animation, I used 5 seconds, and then multiplied by 3 is 15 seconds. So 5 seconds for each slide to be animated, so from start to finish, and then multiplied times 3 is 50 seconds. Because if I would use only 5 seconds as a duration, I'm going to go far too quick. So 15 and S for seconds. You can also use 50,000 and then milliseconds, but I would suggest to use seconds here. Now you can see that I'm not doing anything in a finished project and it's still animating. So we're going to use here as a time of infinite. We're going to just loop and loop and loop. And then we have another property which is called alternative or alternate. It's going to finish the animation and then do it reverse. Okay, so this is the way the animation is going to work. Now we need to think about another problem. In order to create animations, we need to use the add keyframe property. The identifier, so add keyframes, the identifier here is looking for the name of an animation. So we're going to replace the identifier with the name of the animation, which is carousel animation. And now we need to tell it what to do. Well, basically, we want to shift the image back and forth. How can we do that? First of all, there are 2 axes in your web page. There's a horizontal X, which is the X axis, and there's a vertical X, which is the Y axis. So X and Y. If you want to animate something on the X axis, you're going to use the X in your, I'm going to show you just in a couple of seconds, in your property. If you want to animate something on the Y axis, you're going to use the Y. If you want to animate both X's, you'll open a parenthesis and type in X and Y. You're not going to use X and Y as per se typing out, but the values for them. So in this case, we're going to use a translate effect. The effect has also a property which is called a transformation. So we can rotate, translate, what else can we do? We can do a bunch of things. Not going to go in all of them right now. But this animation has keyframes. Now think about those keyframes as following. When, let's say, you see an animation of somebody going from A to B, from sitting to standing, you're going to have the initial position. Then you're going to have the standing up position. Then you're going to have from standing up the left foot or right foot and right foot, and then standing once again. So you have different, each of them is a keyframe. So in order to achieve this, we're going to first of all tell it the initial position. That initial position is going to be 0% of the animation. So at 0% of the animation, we're going to transform something. So we want to transform something. We're going to, you can see here the properties, rotate, matrix, scale. We can scale it down, scale it up. But we're going to use the translate property right here. So let me just go down here, translate. So specifies a 2D, as I said, X and Y axis, 2D translation by the vectors T and X. You don't need any math here, where T axis is the first translation value performed. So as I said, open close parenthesis, and the first value, if you're using both values, is going to be X, and the second value is going to be Y. Now, if you want to specify only one direction, you could do the following. Either you use, for example, only want to use an animation on the X-axis, is going to use value, comma, 0. So 0 for the second value, which is going to mean the Y-axis. In our case, we can also use just translate on the X-axis. We're going to specify translate on the X-axis what we want to translate. But in the initial position, we're going to use 0 as a value. Then after that, we're going to have a next, let me scroll up here, next value, which is going to be at, as I told you, this division by 3 is 33.33% is where the next value will be, and we're going to translate on the x-axis, and again to 0. I'm going to show you why, because this is going to be the next value when it's going to come back. The next one after this is going to be the multiple of 33.33, which is 6.66. At this percentage, we're going to translate by minus 33.33%. And then the last one will be at 100%. Just forget that one, 0.01%. And we're going to translate. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it in at 66.66%. Okay, let's go to our fellow right here. And you can always see it start animate. Now, let's go back to our carousel because we're actually not done here. So height is 35, viewport height, width is 100%. Now we're going to take out this. Oh, you can see that this bar is constantly moving here. I don't like this. So we're going to do the following thing. Overflow. Now you can overflow on specific axis, but we're going to hide overflow for each and every axis. So property, overflow, and value hidden. You're not going to see those bars moving anymore. Okay, now we need to position this as relative, and then the last thing that you could do. So this carousel is now positioned relative, and we can also add a border or a little bit of margin if you want to, but I'm going to actually leave it as right as it is. Last thing that I want to do is add back here a gradient to the background. So the way you can add gradients is go to our body. First thing I'm going to specify that the background color is going to be RGB, so red, green, and blue color of 2 tab 8 for the green and tab and 91 for the blue. It's going to give us that blue color, and now I'm going to add a gradient to it. So once again, background, and now I'm going to specify here the value of radial gradient. Now the type of the radial gradient is going to be a circle. And now I'm going to have two values, the outer circle value and the inner circle value. So comma, a RGB, open and close parenthesis of 6, comma 14 and 124. And a outer value is going to be the inner value, and the outer value RGB and A. And this is going to be completely dark color, so 0.0, whoops, and comma 0. And then the last value, which is going to be 1. And this is going to be at 100%. Okay, so this is going to give me a radius, outside radius of dark, and inner radius of blue. And that's basically it. We have created an infinite slider back and forward with 3 images. Want to add more? Please feel free to do so. You do need to modify this and do a little bit of thinking. This being said, please like this video if you enjoyed the project. It really helps me out a lot. Want to support me for more? Then please subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell in order to get notified whenever I post new videos. Keep coding. Wish you a lovely day. Take care. I'm Norbert BM and I teach web development. Bye-bye.